Okay, I'm going to ask a couple of general questions. I have a few questions up here, but I want to insert them in at the appropriate spot. So if you've got a question that you're itching to ask, now's the time to ask it. I do caution, the question should be for the panel as a whole, rather than just singling one individual out. So actually, hand this to Terry in the back. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, so my first question that I got for y'all, let's talk about management experience. We've got a county with a $100 million plus annual budget. Then we're going to start on that side. We're going to work across the table. Let's talk about management experience and how you feel your management experience best positions you to be a steward of Kootenai County's finances.
So in my career, I was an engineer and I did supervise some people different times, but I don't have a claim to be a manager in my career. But in my business, I started from scratch. I did the accounting, I did the negotiating for contracts. I worked with a lot of people to get my business to work. And then library trustee, it's an $8 million budget, $8.4 million budget. And we were presented with, not only do you have to do a 3% increase, but we're still 200,000 below, and you have no choice. Well, we found a way to give them a raise like they felt they needed, and we still cut the budget to -0.6.
Excellent, thank you.
My experience with financial management, I've been on 4 separate boards, 2 of them for over 10 years, and although they are nonprofit boards, the structure is still the same. Money comes in, money is allocated to go to certain directions, there's money put in a reserve, and then you have to budget to pay people, whether it's salaries or all of the bills, utilities for certain facilities. So I've been on 2 boards with hundreds of thousands of dollars for the last 10 years. The other 2 boards are more recent with a lot less of a budget.
Well, my work experience is a little different than everybody else's. I was a nurse for almost 50 years, and I had to manage nurses as a whole. I was the director of nurses at a hospital in Post Falls. I was the director of the emergency room at Kootenai Health for 35 years, and I don't know if you've ever tried to work with all your employees have degrees and always think they're right, but it's difficult. You learn things like how to reach consensus, how to communicate properly, things along those lines. But you also have to maintain a budget. Healthcare budgets are out of control like every other budget. And if you can't manage them, you don't manage your patient population. So that is a big issue. So I have some experience with that. I've also been a commissioner before. In the past, I was a fire commissioner for 2 terms at Timberlake Fire District. We had a huge budget up there that we had to manage. I sat on the board for the Cowboy Mounted Shooting Association for 17 years and helped manage the budget for that program. So I have some experience with it. Am I an expert? Absolutely not. As I started out my conversation, I'm accountable. And I'm not going to tell you something that I don't believe. And I'm not going to tell you something that I don't think you would believe. So I am willing to step up and learn those things. It's like everybody else that goes into politics or any new job, there's a learning curve to every one of them. I'm willing to step up and take that step. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was the chief pilot at the Los Angeles Police Department, and I managed the training for 35 pilots, plus all the new pilots who came in. I wrote the first policy manual for the training for all the new pilots that came in. At Time Warner, I was the chief pilot there also, and I managed 18 people. We had over $150 million in capital assets, plus about a $10 million operating budget. When I got there, there was no employee handbook, no policy, and I wrote that first one there. So I have had lots of experience in that area. Right now, the county does not have a policy on capital budgeting, and that's something I'd like to change. Thank you.
single largest budget that I've been involved with was my own personal stuff. It wasn't from the government. And that was a $300 million budget where I'm looking at rock quarries in North Dakota. It was a pretty lucrative business. My cabinet making company, I probably had lots of $900,000 to $1 million projects. And as far as the county budget, when I was there last, we had $90 million budget. Of course, today it's up to $120 million budget. So anyway, that's one of my concerns. I think we're spending way too much money.
Okay.